Lauren Coleman, Stacy Spivey, and Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley.
Yeah, of course, it's a big day for weather outside.
Yes.
We'll get to that in just a second, but we want to say thank you guys for watching the 4 to 5 right here on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app for your TV, phone, or tablet.
Yeah, Tim, we'll check in with you in just a second, but first we want to get to our other top story for today. Guilford County schools dismissed an hour early today for the safety of students and faculty. Many students are already at home right now this afternoon.
The district wanted to be certain buses were off the roads before 7 p.m. with the incoming winter weather. The district canceled all extracurricular activities today and tomorrow as well. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake joins us now live in Greensboro at the Department of Transportation Salt Barn.
So Amber, right now, of course, the roads seem fine, but as we know, that could change pretty quickly.
Right, guys, so I'm out here at the Guilford County Salt Barn, and as you can see, the trucks behind me are ready and they're on standby for whenever that cold white stuff starts falling from the sky once again. Now, crews will be activated at 5 o'clock, so in less than an hour, all crews will be activated and they'll be on a 24-hour coverage throughout this weather event. Now, we just got off the phone with the city of Greensboro, and they told us that warmer weather equals increased ground temps, which is going to be good for weather conditions and good for the roadways. Now, whenever crews are activated, that means it's all hands on deck, full staff, which means 100 employees in total will be activated. And they'll be working on an A and B shift. They'll have 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So they'll be prepared and ready for whenever the road conditions get bad. Now, I do want to show you this over here. This is the salt barn. If you've been following us the past few weeks, whenever we've had some of these similar weather events that are happening, the salt has a lot higher, but you can see it's a lot smaller right now. But the city of Greensboro said that they are stocked enough for this event right now. Orders are in for more salt, but they're going to start with the primary roads whenever the roads start getting bad, and they'll go to the secondary roads as well in regards to plowing and putting salt everywhere. So the city of Greensboro also told us whenever this starts happening, they have an interactive snow map. I'm going to get our camera guy to zoom in a little bit for us. This is their interactive snow map, so you can go to the city's website and pull up this, and you can see which roads have been plowed, which roads are primary 1, primary 2, and you can see if your road or your area has been plowed. So we're going to be out here, out and about in this weather later on tonight, so make sure that you stick with us at 11 o'clock.
All right, you be safe out there, Amber. So Tim, you've been watching this system. When can we expect to see some of the snow affect the roadways?
Yeah, Lauren, we're going to be fine still for several hours. I think if you have anything you need to get done, you're good to go through at least 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. After that, it's more of a gamble because that's when that snow will be flying and eventually it'll be sticking to that pavement as well. Snow is likely later on tonight. The timeline we've been going with all week has really been after 7 o'clock for when you can expect things to start flying. We're looking at a winter weather advisory. That's new from the National Weather Service today, meaning we are expecting some accumulating snow. Some of you are already seeing some rain. I know this looks like a busy radar. It is not raining in most of the Triad yet. Often with winter weather, we have dry air in place first, and it takes a while before that dry air gets saturated and the rain or snow can finally reach the ground. We are hearing about rain happening in Stokes County, Surrey County, Wilkes as well, and noticing the change over to snow already across the Virginia border. It's way too warm right now for snow as well. We're in the 40s, but look what happens. Once it starts to rain, we'll quickly drop into the 30s, and that'll be plenty enough. So like I said, after around 8 o'clock or so, that's when things really start to get going for tonight. Here's our futurecast. This is right around that 8 o'clock time frame. Notice that's when things start in Greensboro. We'll watch that continue on and off. These are scattered snow showers, so some people get heavier ones, some people get lighter ones, but it lasts a while. We'll see this in our area through about 4 in the morning. So 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., that's pretty much your chance to get some snow, and accumulations will vary a little bit around the region, but I am looking at slick roadways, possibly snow-covered roadways by tomorrow morning, and you should plan on that if you're out and about tonight. Our snow forecast has basically been the same for several days, a widespread 1 to 2 inches for most of the Triad. I am expecting less than that closer to the foothills, not as much moisture there. More in the mountains, and we'll see if there are some localized heavier amounts. We'll have more updates on the weather forecast and the 7-day throughout the show.
Tim, thanks. Stay weather alert with our WFMY News 2 app. All you have to do is text the word app to 336-379-5775. We'll send you a link directly to download our free app. Or if you prefer to look at the radar, text the word weather to that same number. You don't need to put anything else in your text other than the keyword. Otherwise, you won't get the link that you need.
If you requested a free at-home COVID test through the federal government, be sure it's heading to your mailbox. Take a look for that if it's not already there already. With more freezing temps in the Triad this weekend, health officials recommend getting the test in the house sooner rather than later. Most COVID test kits are supposed to be stored between 36 and 86 degrees and should not freeze. Manufacturers warn any extended exposure to extreme cold or heat could affect test results because the kits contain liquid. Companies recommend letting the kit warm up to room temperature before use. The USPS will send out an email the day your COVID tests are being delivered. If you can't make it to your mailbox, test manufacturers suggest you have someone else pick it up for you.
Frustration in High Point today after the Guilford County Health Department ran out of N95 masks before their scheduled distribution. Cars lined up early and the health department handed out those masks earlier than scheduled in an attempt to control traffic. The department says they were concerned about safety as the car line started to block traffic. We spoke with two sisters who explain why it's important for them to have these N95 masks.
I'm doing it for health reasons and the fact that I live with my sister. I don't want to put her in jeopardy and I don't want to put anybody else in jeopardy. And I think it's a small thing just to wear a mask.
Approximately 10,000 masks were handed out today. Another handout was scheduled for tomorrow, but due to the weather forecast, the department is moving it to Monday. You'll have another chance to get some masks at the Greensboro Coliseum complex between 2 and 7.
Taking a look at our COVID-19 metrics, hospitalizations fell just slightly from the record high set yesterday. Currently, more than 5,100 people are in the hospital. 282 of those patients are being treated at Cone Health. Our daily percentage of tests returning positive is still well above the 5% mark. Right now we sit at 30%. Looking ahead, Guilford County commissioners meet again next Thursday, where they will meet to review metrics presented by health leaders. As of right now, this is just a meeting to review the mask policy. If the commissioners decide to take any action, they must give a 10-day notice before doing so.
Any investment in the arts is an investment in your community.
In the beginning of the pandemic, concerts, shows, and festivals were completely called off. It made us realize how much we value the arts. The American Rescue Plan aims to help keep the creative spirit alive by investing millions into art organizations, including right here in Greensboro. The National Endowment for the Arts chose to give some of that money to 10 organizations in North Carolina. One of those, the North Carolina Folk Festival, being awarded $150,000. President and CEO Amy Grossman says they'll be using the grant funds to help with staffing needs, operations, and to pay the performers.
To be awarded this funding, it just really sets us up to be in a place to start planning for our long-term future. When a lot of organizations, we weren't sure what that long-term future would look like.
A future that Grossman says is vital to the community.
It's all about getting people back to work, sustaining their jobs. And so this is coming at a time that is really important to us as we continue to emerge from the pandemic.
And get your calendars out. This year's Folk Festival will be September 9th, 10th, and 11th. They're already in the planning process, including working on getting artists and vendors lined up. And actually, one thing she did mention was this past year in 2021, they kind of incorporated both a virtual, like the digital side of it, as well as the in-person. And she said it did so well that they're going to do that again this year.
And we're seeing that with a lot of events. I know some of the events that I'll either go to or host or whatever, they're all doing what they call hybrid events, so that you reach more people. A lot of people will just watch on their phones.
That's definitely one of the benefits that came out of this pandemic.
Yes.
So say if your parents live on the other side of the country, they can tune in and watch you perform too. So that is awesome.
Yeah, so last year they actually did a competition digitally, and whoever won the competition actually got to perform live at the Folk Festival. So I'm not sure if they're doing that this year or not, but I mean, obviously that attracts a wide audience, a much wider audience than you would get just having something in town.
And I will tell you to go see some of these artists that you're not as familiar with, because you may be seeing a diamond in the rough. I know a few years back, several years back, Rhiannon Giddens was there, and she was not the star that she is now. And I remember walking in literally in just a big tent about the size of this studio, and there she was, and not thinking that she would end up being a major star. So it's really cool.
This is also just a great time for those performers to get back to work, to have these live performances, because if we think about it, you have to have a show or an event to put on in order for them to make money. So it's nice that money is being donated into the arts, because it does mean a lot to us. It brings us together, and especially here in the Triad, it's a big art area.
I love live music, period.
I do too.
Yeah.
And those performers, they need to get paid. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Gotta put food on the table.
Get
That's
your
right.
tickets.
And keep us entertained.
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming back. Stay right there. Short break.
Hi, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check.
Four NFL teams remain alive. Only two get to go to the Super Bowl. We found out this weekend which ones it will be.
The first game right here on WFNY News 2, the Cincinnati Bengals taking the trip to face the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, neither may be your team, but Amanda Ferguson reminds us that there's a Greensboro player on one of them.
Yeah, Lauren Stacy, Grimsley alum DJ Reader is getting ready for a big game this weekend. The Cincinnati Bengals linebacker has a chance to help the Bengals to take them to the Super Bowl this weekend. He graduated a decade ago, went on to play for Clemson after spending 6 seasons in the league, 2 now at the Bengals. He's becoming a part of history. He may not be the first name you hear, but he's made a big impact, helping the team get this far, shutting down big offensive players. Grimsley Athletic Director Ethan Albright tells us what it means to see a guy from Greensboro on this stage.
I think it's special. There's a lot of people here that come to games, watch, and they feel like they have a connection when they see somebody make it, especially a great guy like DJ. This is a Guilford County Schools product, Greensboro City, a Grimsley High School. He's representing our whole community with just first class all the way. He's got Whirly Nation behind him pulling for him.
The Bengals and Chiefs are set to kick off right here on WFNY News 2 in that AFC Championship game. Kickoff is set for 3 p.m. Sunday. The winner punches its ticket to the Super Bowl. The Bengals have never won one. DJ Reader could help make that possible. We'll be right back.
Hello, Facebook people.
It's Friday,
It's
Friday.
Friday.
Gotta get down on Friday. Partying, yeah. How's everybody doing today? How you doing,
need to open up
Facebook?
the
I gotta log
stream.
in.
So what do you have planned for the weekend, Stacy? What's the family doing?
We didn't really have any plans, actually. Yeah. Usually weekends are just time to relax.
And catch up on rest.
Yeah. But
I feel that.
Especially when you have a little one.
yeah, it's yawning. But we might be snowed in the morning.
Hopefully, you know, it doesn't get too bad.
1 to 2 is not too bad. I think we're almost used to that now after the last 2, you know? Not a big deal.
Oh, and also we wanted to let you guys know, so we have our 4 o'clock show today. Obviously, we're in the middle of it. But because of golf, we will not have a 5 or 5:30 or a 6. But the wonderful, beautiful Lauren Coleman will join you at 11 tonight.
Oh, thank you, girl.
You're welcome. With Tim Buckley. He's okay too, I guess.
Tim, he'll do. He'll do.
Oh, can you hear us?
His mic's probably not on. Oh, it is.
I
Now
am
it
accepting
is.
Hi,
any
Buckley.
compliments. You can give me any compliments you'd like. That's fine.
We'll call you the Snow King.
I don't want to be the Snow King.
Okay.
It's too much
What
snow.
about the Ice King?
Oh, I don't want that either. How
No?
about the sunny and 70 degrees King?
I was thinking like Frozen.
Wait, it'll rhyme. You could be the Spring King.
Ooh,
That
the
would work.
Spring King.
Here we go. Bye, Facebook.
Well, it is a long-standing tradition in the Triad, especially for movie buffs. The Triad Jewish Film Festival promotes quality cinema every year. I spoke with Maya Gerfinkel with the Greensboro Jewish Federation about the history of this event. Maya, it seems like we've been talking about a lot of film festivals lately. It's that time, isn't it? But I want to go back through kind of the history of this and how did all this get started? It's been around for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So this year is the 21st year of the festival, and it came about when a lot of other federations and other Jewish communities started creating their own film festivals, and Greensboro thought that would be a wonderful idea to bring to our community. We've created wonderful partnerships with our Wellspring partners, and they've been able to host us for many years and use their state-of-the-art theater and even expand the audience numbers. It's been really wonderful to see that and to see it grow and adapt over the years too, and bring in different kinds of themes and different messages that are really showcased in the movies this year.
So let's talk a little bit about, you said a lot of federations do this, but what's the end goal here with a film festival, do you think?
Really the end goal is to educate, right? We wanted to show Jewish stories, Jewish people, stories that aren't often told in the mainstream media. I mean, we're seeing that more and more nowadays with different diverse backgrounds being showcased and at the forefront of TV shows or movies. But a lot of these movies we're not going to be able to see in mainstream theaters or through Netflix or Hulu or whatever streaming platform you have. These are very specific movies that are oftentimes only showcased in film festivals throughout the world.
Well, it's great stuff you're doing. We can't wait to see it. And thanks for spending time with us today. We appreciate it. All right, so in the next half hour, we're going to talk a little bit about the actual movies that they have this year. It's a really wide range, comedy, drama, satire. I mean, she told me it runs the gamut here.
Have you ever attended one of these
So
festivals?
I haven't attended, but I've watched digital copies of some of the movies before. Fabulous filmmaking. I mean, she said that there's just a rich tradition of that in this area. And some of the movies that they screen aren't necessarily all local. They're from all over the place.
I love that they have this, so everybody loves to see people who have similar backgrounds to them on television so they can connect to those stories. So this is a great platform for that.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm interested to see some of these. Growing up where I grew up, I didn't really know much about Jewish culture, but thankfully one of my best friends, he is Jewish. So I've learned a lot through him and really learned to accept and, well, not like I didn't accept before, but to really learn about it.
Understand it.
And understand it.
Better,
That's,
yes.
that's a better word for it. I couldn't
Well,
come
and
up with the word.
so I grew up in a town of about 6,000 people. There was no synagogue. I remember we had one Jewish family, and the wife would come to the elementary schools and teach us what Hanukkah was and what the menorah meant and that type of stuff. And I thought that's fabulous for, especially that you're talking early 1970s.
Yeah.
And she would come into the classrooms and enrich us. You know, it was just a small community, not a lot of diversity, and that made a big difference.
And festivals like that make that kind
Yes.
of difference, just to
It's
spread
so
that
important.
awareness and educate us, especially if we grew up in households where we don't, you know, that's not our background. So.
Right. It's so important to learn about other religions, other cultures, because that's how you learn to be a better person, because you become more
Well-rounded.
understanding
Yeah,
of
and
other
acceptant.
people that are not like you.
True.
And it just opens up your perspective in your mind to really see things from other people's point of view. And I think it just makes you a better human being to understand other backgrounds.
And I think you can go into these, I mean, good cinema is good cinema, no matter what race or religion is producing or writing it, you know, and these are quality movies. I mean, I think it's good for you to open your horizons a little bit and jump in there.
And good movies from people we're not too familiar with, like the
Right.
mainstream
Yeah,
stuff.
that's exactly right. All right, we got to check that forecast. Everybody's talking about it, Tim. I'm glad you're in that seat and not me.
We're going to be just fine. You know, I really think that we can handle anything at this point. And it's not going to be a big snow. We're talking about 1 inch to 2 inches. That's doable. And really, we've done it several times this month. Take a look here. You might forget. Well, how could you? It has been a snowy January, but we've had multiple occasions with sticking snow. The first was on the 3rd day of the year. We picked up 2 inches. It melted really fast, didn't hit the roads that much. But the next one was the big one. That's where we had all that sleet that's still on some of our grounds 2 weeks ago. Last week, we had a Thursday trace to a tenth of an inch. And then after that, the Friday event that got our roads all messed up yet again. Our event is coming together. This is the low offshore that's going to be the big blizzard in the Northeast. What we're watching more carefully is that front. It is starting to rain in some parts of our area. We'll see it changing over to snow, mostly from 8 p.m. tonight through about 4 in the morning. So it's a quick hitting system, doesn't last all that long, but those scattered snow showers will be with us tonight. If you have to be out and about tonight after 8 to 10 o'clock, I really think that's when the roads could start to get a little on the slick side and on the slushy and snow covered side. Probably not as bad as last Friday because our temperatures aren't quite as cold, but even still, you know how people drive when it gets bad weather. You don't always want to be a part of that. Snow potential, still thinking our forecast of 1 to 2 inches is the right one. We will adjust as needed. Some people could be a little higher, a little lower, but that's the average for our area. Bottom line, the main impact here, we're talking about road conditions. It's not a power outage event. The winds will be gusty, but not really until tomorrow. Saturday is going to be your windy day. We'll have gusts from 25 to 35 miles per hour. Sunshine comes out. That should help to melt some stuff in the sun, but those shady areas will stay snow covered a little while longer. Sunday morning down to 15 degrees, a bitterly cold start there. That means anything still hanging around, it will refreeze, and we'll have those black ice issues. Getting warmer heading into next week.
Today marks 36 years since the Space Shuttle Challenger tragedy. The Challenger exploded 73 seconds after liftoff from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. All 7 crew members on board died. One of those on board was North Carolina A&T alumnus astronaut Ronald McNair. He served as a mission specialist on board. Every year, NC holds a celebration in his honor. Now, Eric, you were saying you remember very vividly when this happened. Yes. What were you doing when this all
So I was in college and I was going back to my dorm room after grabbing breakfast, and I think it happened at 9-ish something in the morning. I can't remember the time. And I walked into the lounge in my dorm and everybody was glued to the TV, and I said, what happened? They said, Challenger exploded. So we watched the coverage, and I think the memory that I'll never get out of my head was because Krista McCullough was a teacher that was one of the astronauts. They had trained her, and so some of her students and her parents were there watching the liftoff. And I just remember how sad it was to watch her parents watch that. And it was a plume of smoke with smoke going in different directions because different pieces had flown out, but you didn't know if maybe they had ejected or the capsule came out or something. We didn't know until later when we found that out. It was just horrible. At that point, there had been so much buildup in the news about that crew and that they had a civilian, a teacher on board, and all that, and for that to happen was really tough.
Yeah. Throughout the month of February, WFMY, we're going to be highlighting different people in the community for Black History Month, and we are also honoring Mr. McNair, who's had a big impact on this area, considering he was a student at North Carolina A&T.
Yeah, gosh, I mean, I obviously wasn't alive when this happened, but growing up, always heard about it. My mom told me about, where she was and what was going on when it did happen, and it almost just like anytime you watch a liftoff now, like,
oh, I know,
you almost you're just nervous a little bit. I feel anxious still to this day, like watching any of them.
I know, you're always like, and
on
even
edge.
though it's so commonplace now, but back then it was more. And you remember there was one too that I think it exploded back in like late 90s, early 2000s
Yes,
over Texas.
I do remember that.
I do remember that as well.
And so that, yeah, you're right. We always watch those liftoffs and just think like, oh, please let this go
It's
well.
supposed to be an exciting time, but we know, like, in the back of our minds, that could be a possibility based on history. But if it's not for, I mean, these people literally sacrifice their lives to help with the advancement of science.
And they know,
right.
Yeah,
they know the risk. I mean, they know
Yes.
that. There's a first major news event that you remember watching when you were a kid. Is there one event that stands out?
9/11.
I would say 9/11 definitely stands out because that was
be.
something that was like life-changing for us. Like I said, I was living overseas on a military base in Germany at the time. I remember they shut the base down, and then after that we had to start showing our IDs to get on base. They would bring the dogs out to sniff your car sometimes, like every 4 cars. It was like very different because before you could kind of just walk on base. Some of the people who lived in the German community would come and play basketball with us. It was just, but after that it just completely changed.
Wow.
Is that's yours too?
9/11, yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's one of the biggest in history that you guys. So for me, I don't remember. I didn't know what it meant because I was too little. But I remember lying in front of the living room, and the TV was on, and my dad would be watching the news, and I would see images from Vietnam. But I didn't know. I just thought it was it could have been a war movie to me. I was so little. But my brother, being 13 years older than me, he was next in line to be drafted when they stopped it. So it was very tight. Yeah. Anyway, we
could talk about history all day long.
Telling you. Love that. All right, we'll take a short break. Be right back.
The North Carolina A&T student I spoke with today says she and her roommates are going on about 2 weeks without central heat. She says it's been stressful.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Eric Chilton, Stacey Spivey, and Tim Buckley doing a little side-to-side thing there.
Little dance going
Well,
on
Eric's
there.
right in front of me, so I'm kind of like.
Oh, wait, here, hold on.
I
Here,
thought
I'll
you,
move
it was
over
the
this
new
way.
dance or
I thought it
something.
was a snow dance.
I
or
did
something.
too.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Or a snow go away dance.
Yeah, which dance is it? The snow go away or the snow dance?
Oh, whatever dance we do, it won't change a darn thing. So we're
True.
gonna take what we get.
It's coming.
All right, so what is gonna happen?
Yeah, sure. Let's get to the forecast. Yeah, we're looking at a burst of snow tonight, guys. That's really what we've been talking about throughout the week. Not a major winter storm. It's not a big event, but similar to what we've seen in recent weeks. Another time where you get some snow in the yard. And here's what we have expected for our area. This is from the National Weather Service. They issue these alerts when needed, and we have a winter weather advisory for all of the Triad counties except Surrey and Wilkes. Reason being, they're going to get a little bit less. But anyone in purple here expected to get anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. And that's what we're expecting all week long. Here's what I see on radar right now. It looks really busy, right? I don't need an umbrella right now. It's dry. We have dry air over most of the region at the moment. However, starting to saturate, and what I mean by that is the rain is starting to not evaporate before hitting the ground. So you're seeing some rain now near the Virginia border. We've heard about this from the foothills toward Virginia, and it is snowing now in places like Galax, Meadows of Dan, these areas. Martinsville reporting some rain mixing with snow. Mount Airy having some rain. Notice too, when it starts to rain, temperatures drop fast into the 30s. We're still in the 40s. That won't last that long. You'll have to wait a while before anything really happens, which means you're still good to do anything around the region through 6, 7, and maybe even 8 o'clock. That's the time frame where things start to change. I expect by 8, we'll start to see some snow moving into the area, and it's coming in from north to south as you're tracking at home using your News 2 radar app. We'll see these on again, off again snow showers kind of banded locally, which means heavier in some towns, less heavier in others. It's kind of like a summer downpour, so there will be this kind of variety in snow totals where some people pick up a ½ an inch, others pick up 1 to maybe 2. So just know that there will be winners and losers here. Bottom line, 8 p.m. through about 4 a.m. is our opportunity for snow to fly from the sky. After 9 and 10 o'clock, the roads could start to get slick and eventually snow covered once it's darker and colder. There's our latest snow map. Not a big change, still 1 to 2 inches. We'll have more updates throughout the newscast.
Tim, thank you. More problems for students at Block 43 apartments in Greensboro. Some started the fall semester with dirty apartments and not ready for move-in.
We've done a lot of stories on this complex. Now at the start of the spring term, some units have no heat. WFMY News 2's Avery Powell spoke with a student living there today. Avery, what did she have to say about this? It's freezing outside.
The North Carolina A&T senior I talked with today said her and her roommates are going on about 2 weeks without central heat. She says it's been stressful and it's not making the end of her academic year very easy.
It's been a trying 2 years with Block 43.
Jordan Anderson Murray says her roommate returned to their Block 43 apartment in early January to find a cold home.
She was like, I cut it on and it got really hot upstairs, but never got warm downstairs. It was like freezing cold downstairs.
Anderson Murray says they told Block 43 staff about the issue 2 weeks ago. They were given space heaters in the meantime, which, according to Block 43's parent company, Varsity Campus, was meant to hold them over while a part is on order to fix the HVAC issue.
Okay, they don't think of us as like adults and like we have real issues. Like, you don't want to be in your house and not have heat. So why are we here without heat?
News 2 obtained a list of work orders from Block 43 showing at least 33 apartments with heating or thermostat issues, some residents complaining the problem has lasted for days or weeks. Varsity Campus says they had a few other work orders, but they were not the same issue as Anderson Murray's, and most issues are repaired.
We pay our rent on time. I feel like we should be able to get things fixed in a timely manner.
We are expecting a further statement from Varsity Campus on the situation. Once we get that, we'll update you on WFMYnews2.com.
All right, thank you, Avery. Even without the snow, it's just downright cold out there. When you try to keep your home warm, make sure that you're doing it safely. If you have a heater, make sure it's on a flat surface that is not flammable. Keep the heater 3 feet away from children, pets, and anything flammable. Don't use your heater near paint, gas cans, or matches. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. That's an important one to remember. And plug them directly into the wall, not an extension cord, and unplug it when it's not in use.
New at 4:30, Governor Roy Cooper vetoed a bill passed by lawmakers that would have delayed state primaries for a second time. State lawmakers voted to push back primaries from May to June. The Supreme Court delayed the primaries from January to May due to legal challenges over the redistricting maps. Last night, former Representative Mark Walker announced that he will stay in the running for Senate. His campaign says he received an offer of endorsement from former President Donald Trump if he were to run for a U.S. House seat instead. Walker says he seriously considered the offer but declined. Bud Walker and former Governor Pat McCrory are among the candidates vying for the Republican nomination. Democratic candidates include former state Supreme Court Chief Justice Sherry Beasley and State Senator Erica Smith. Come November, the winner of the race will replace Republican Senator Richard Burr. He announced last year that he won't run for re-election.
It's Friday, and with the incoming weather, there's nothing better than to curl up on the couch with some of your favorite snacks and watch a movie. WFMY News 2's photojournalist Manning Franks reviews Emergency, which takes a comedic but dramatic turn on racial stereotypes.
I couldn't tell you how many times I was clenching my seat in anxious anticipation as the film progressed, but then instantly laughing at the comedic timing of it all. See, that's the beauty of Emergency. It packs a punch with a winning combination of comedy and drama, yet the film also offers biting commentary on perceived racial stereotypes and asks us to re-examine our own prejudice. Emergency takes us on the journey of three college students, Kunal, Sean, and Carlos, on one of the last nights of their final semester. However, when they surprisingly discover a drunken young woman passed out in their own apartment, the three students of color are left in a precarious situation. While heavy-handed at times, director Carey Williams has assembled an incredibly charismatic cast and a smart screenplay that handles the themes of racial prejudice with surprising dexterity. From the three main leads to the supporting cast, Emergency never forgets to make you laugh, but also encourages you to put yourself in someone else's shoes. I'm going to recommend this a News 2 approved. Emergency will be available this Saturday, January 29th at 5 p.m. Eastern at Aperture Cinema, before being available theatrically on May 20th and Amazon Prime on May 27th.
As Manning said, Aperture Cinemas in Winston-Salem was selected as a satellite location to screen some of these films from the Sundance Film Festival. The cinema was one of only 7 chosen nationwide. Executive Director Lauren Desai says it's exciting to share films with audiences that have never been seen before.
Sundance has a mission to connect the United States, the country, with films and the films they're playing, and so I think Sundance Satellite Screen is a natural fit into that goal, and to be a part of that and to bring those films to the community to reach local audiences is huge to be a part of sort of that goal.
And they will screen a small selection of movies from Sundance this weekend through the 30th.
We have a programming note for you. After today's 4 o'clock newscast, we'll switch over to CBS for PGA Golf starting at 5 o'clock. This means you will not see WFMY News 2 at 5, 5:30, or 6. This also means Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune will be impacted. Wheel of Fortune will air overnight at 1:38 a.m. and Jeopardy will air after that at 2:08 a.m. So make sure that you set your DVRs so you don't miss that. But be sure to join us for WFMY News 2 at 11 and of course all the time on WFMYnews2.com.
We talked about it earlier, but the Triad Jewish Film Festival is underway. This year, an incredible selection. I spoke with Maya Gerfinkel of the Greensboro Jewish Federation about what we can expect and how you can join in on the fun. Maya, so let's talk about this. First of all, I'm thinking to myself, how many films are there in this festival, and then what subject matter are we looking at this go around?
Great questions. Yeah, so we have 6 movies this year, and actually what's really unique about the film festival this year is that it's a hybrid platform. So all 6 movies are offered virtually from the comfort of your own home. Our 3 in-person showings are Tiger Within, which is a drama. It features a Holocaust survivor who becomes friends with a homeless teenager. We are also showcasing the movie Asia, starring Shira Haas, big star from Unorthodox. And then we are also showing a comedy called Honeymoon. And it starts when most romantic comedies end when the husband and wife get married. This starts right after the marriage, and a lot unfolds and you see them go on this crazy journey in Jerusalem. We are also showing 2 documentaries. One is called American Birthright, and this is about a woman's story and finding herself and finding her own Jewish path. And then the other documentary is Latter Day Jew. And this is the story of a comedian who's actually raised Mormon and actually goes through conversion to be Jewish and actually has his own bar mitzvah. And then the last movie is called Here We Are, and it's a really, really touching father-son story about a father and son, and the son has a disability. And so we kind of see that take its own hold on the family. So it's really interesting, really big array, and we're so excited to share it with everyone.
It's interesting because your subject matter is all over the place, right? But still with the Jewish theme. I mean, I like the fact that you got comedies and dramas. Was that the intent?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually work very closely with a whole committee, the Triad Jewish Film Festival Committee. There's 10 of us total, and we go through a very extensive process of viewing about 50 movie trailers to start, and then we narrow it down to find our top 10. And then we get to preview those 10 movies beforehand, and then we chose our top 6. So we were kind of wanting to kind of keep it light, keep it fun, but also continue to share the really touching stories that the Triad Jewish Film Festival always brings to light and really brings strong cinematic moments to the Triad audience.
So you have, it started yesterday, technically was opening night, and it runs through the 6th, so you have time to see all these. Again, they're doing hybrid events, so it's half in person, half online, so everybody can see this. I think it's fascinating because we got into a discussion more that we didn't have enough time to get into, but she said these are incredible cinematic moments that if you're a movie, not even if you're a movie buff, but if you just like a good story, she said you're going to get a lot of that, and you can take the fact that it was a Jewish filmmaker or a Jewish topic. She goes, sometimes you can pull that out and still see an incredible cinematic moment. And I think that's important for stories to be told with the right flavor so that the Jewish community understands it, but that everybody else will still enjoy that movie.
And you said this is from people from all over the world, some of these directors and filmmakers.
Yes.
Are there any local talents that are going to be in this festival?
You know, I didn't ask her that today. There has been in the past, but I mean, this has been going on for 21 years, and it runs the gamut. In fact, she said this year we made a specific effort to make sure that totally different styles, right? Drama, tragedy, silly. Oh, you know, I don't think there's that. That's interesting. Yeah, we'd have to look that one up.
Yeah, love a good movie.
I do too. Any day, any night. All right, we'll take a break. We'll see you in a bit.
Today on U Day, Coach Lamont explains why surrounding yourself with people who don't value you is doing the greatest injustice to your life.
A great proverb says that fire and gunpowder never share the same space. Make sure you are in the right situations because everyone can't handle your personality. You have been trying to fit in with people that will never accept who you are. Never force acceptance. Find the right atmosphere that will accept you for you. Now, my wife always says, find a place where you are celebrated, not tolerated. If they can't accept the gift you are, then it's time to find a group that will. No need to put your fire out just because other people can't handle the heat you bring. People will always find a reason to criticize, but when their criticism takes root in your heart, you have already lost yourself. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best U Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Little weather update for you. Not expecting any snow here until around 8 o'clock at the earliest. That would be when we start to see it flying around here. But we're looking at Boone right now. I know it's moving around there. It stops right now. We can see some scattered snow showers. It is starting to accumulate on the rooftops there. Roads are still wet. That's a good sign. I hope that we can keep our roads pretty decent through at least 10 o'clock tonight. Hopefully a little later on. We'll see what happens. Here are your radar images right now. We see a lot of rain off the coast. That's going to become the blizzard that goes to the northeast. We're dealing with a cold front and an upper level trough to the west of us that's bringing us this moisture. Radar looks busy. Still not raining here. We have dry air in place. That'll take a couple of hours to kind of go away until that precipitation can reach the ground. Even still, you're seeing some rain near the Virginia border and snow north of the Virginia border and in Boone, like I mentioned, in the higher elevations. Futurecast going into the next couple of hours, like I said, snow could be possible by 8 p.m., then on again, off again through 4 in the morning, and we are expecting anywhere from 1 to maybe 2 inches in some areas. This is what Futurecast shows, some on again, off again snow showers, some heavier bands, some lighter areas that will be a little randomized, so some people get more, some people get less, but on the whole, we're looking at a 1 to 2 inch area here in the Triad. It's a minor snow event, kind of like what we dealt with last week, but it's cold on Saturday, so road issues, they could linger a little while even with our sunshine this weekend.
So it's time for my 2 cents, and today I'm talking nostalgia, one of my favorite topics. Now recently, my wife has been going through some things and found some boxes in the attic. Now they were my stuff, and I am a pack rat when it comes to memorabilia about my life. I have clothes and objects and everything from even when I was a kid. I mean, I even have the recorder. Remember the recorder you play in elementary school? Still have that in a box somewhere. Anyway, she found a box of t-shirts. She goes, oh, well, let's get rid of these. And I said, no. Can't get rid of those. She goes, yes, what are these? I said, they're t-shirts from high school and college that mean something to me. No, they're sitting in a box and you're taking up room. Anyway, so one day I found them in a place where I thought she was going to throw them out. So I took them to work, and they've been here for a long time. Take a look at what I found under my desk the other day. I thought this was worth showing. It's a box of all my t-shirts. I mean, as I went through these, I saw fraternity party shirts from college. I saw some of my fraternity's letter shirts were in there. Even these, which I love because I would actually draw the cartoon design for some of our events in my fraternity in college. I saved some of those. Heck, there's even the Haagen-Dazs ice cream shop t-shirt that I worked at during college. And when I wrote for the Daily Tar Heel for Carolina, that was in there. I mean, governor's school from high school, you name it, there was a ton of these shirts. I could not bear to part with them. All my coworkers were coming by going, what in the world is this? And I said, this is me being a pack rat. So what did I do? I folded them all up nice and neat, put them back in the box, and kept it under my desk. Now that this is out there, if my wife sees that, she'll know they still exist. So I'm going to have to relocate them about once every month. So give me a call if it's okay if I keep them in your attic for a certain month of the year. I'll keep a spreadsheet. I'm not throwing these out. That's just my 2 cents. Maybe my last 2 cents. My wife may see this and go, aha, they're still around. No, she wasn't adamant about throwing them out, but she was like, you don't need these. I do keep a lot of silly stuff. I told Stacy I literally have, you remember when you played the recorder?
I still have mine.
I
Mine is engraved, and I'm not gonna lie, I'll pull it out sometimes and be like, hot cross bun.
Yeah.
Da, da,
Let's bring him to work.
1 penny to a penny.
Stop it.
We're gonna bring him to work and play them together.
Yes. I don't have parents' house though.
I still have the badge I wore for safety patrol in elementary school. Yes.
I'm like that too with sentimental things. I just can't part with. Like all my sorority t-shirts, I still have them. I'm like, well, if my daughter goes Kyo, then I want her to have like vintage shirts and stuff. I can't part with all of it.
I don't like parting from things too. I still have a tub in my closet with all my assignments from like kindergarten and first grade. And sometimes
my mom
I'll pull
has
them out.
that.
I had a little thing. I was like, I want to comb my hair like my sister. I want to dress like my sister.
I love
so
that
fun
stuff.
to look back on.
I love it.
See, because once you open those up and go through it, it's like a big memory.
Well, they're counting us down. We got to get out of here.
We got to roll.
We like to talk.
See you at 11.